Today's topic I'd like to share with you is over cults. Now, before we get started, I would like to give a warning and a statement. The topic of cults is very heavy and can be very off putting to some people. Now, as I speak on this topic, know that we will define what a cult is, but please be aware that when I talk about certain groups, my intention is never to offend, only to inform you upon the seriousness of and potential dangers of cultish activity. Cults are very good at spreading misinformation about the seriousness of what they do. They are very good at hiding in plain sight, and they are very good at shielding the public eye away from things that would be of concern. Now, before we actually talk on what the dangers are, let's define what a cult is. Merriam-Webster defines a cult as a religion regarded as unorthodox or spurious. But the cultish researcher Walter Martin, who author of The Kingdom of the Cults, wrote, "I may add to this that a cult might also be defined as a group of people gathered about a specific person or persons' misinterpretation of the Bible." Now, cults are typically hard to spot from a surface level as they excel in blending into what would be considered normal religious groups and normal religious activity. The other issue is that it is hard to track the rise of various cults, and it is hard to track exactly how many people are involved with these cults. The nearest estimation that I could find was that at least 10,000 cults exist today, and that 0.5 to 3% of people will have interactions or be part of cults in their lifetime. But once again, these are unverifiable because there unfortunately is not a lot of research done into the statistics that involve cultish activity. Now, there are several different types of cults. There are political cults, there are doomsday cults. The ones we are focusing and talking about today are more of the religious side of things. And from the 1960s to today, there has been a rise in cult numbers. Now, the issue is when we look at what defines a cult, there are even some major religious movements that fit the definition. The main ones that we can talk about is Mormonism and Jehovah's Witness. Now, this revolving issue in communicating and identifying them as cults is often due to the language that they choose to use. A lot of times they use the same words that we would, but they actually do have different definitions. As you can see in the chart that has popped up, the terms stay the same, yet the definitions are quite different. For Mormonism, God can mean many gods and goddesses, while we, as Christians, use the one triune God. Jehovah's Witnesses often use the term Jesus Christ, but do not believe, like we do, that he is God, but rather the Archangel Michael. Christian Science does not believe in sin, but to a Christian, sin is disobedience to God. While in the New Age, salvation means to become one with the universe, while we view it as reconciliation with God by means of Christ's atonement and resurrection. There you can see that the issue with the terms is that we then have to do gymnastics to even get on the same page as some of these cult members. Because when we talk about God, they say they also believe in God, yet they are different. This can make it hard to really understand what they're talking about and keep track of what they're actually saying to us. Now, it is when we look at the meaning behind their terms that we see the differences between them and other Christian groups. For most part, this doesn't seem or sound dangerous or anything that we should really be focused on. Yet, let's take a look at the rise of membership in the Mormon Church just in the last couple of years, honestly, since 1940 to 50. They've gone from 1 million members all the way up to boasting over 16 million members. And this is from MormonChurch.com, a Mormon-affiliated website. They are exponentially growing, and therefore, if they are exponentially growing, yet are preaching things that are not consistent with Christianity, yet claiming to be Christians, then there is room for a lot of improper teaching and people being led astray by their words. Now, why does this matter? Why is this something that we should be afraid of? It's because with cults, there is usually a central figure that is benefiting from the membership of these people into their cult. For example, one of the most famous cult leaders uh, who was responsible for the Jonestown Massacre was Jim Jones, a charismatic preacher who started a community and unfortunately, through the power that he willed, had a ton of people commit suicide by drinking poison Kool-Aid. So in conclusion, cults are a issue that needs to be addressed, and I believe everyone needs to be aware of and be willing and able to rebuttal their claims as well as identify them and potentially help people who are trapped or enslaved by these cults to get out of them or at least share the dangers that they're in. I hope this was informative as well and that you were able to get through it. I do realize it is a heavy topic, and I hope that I was successful in communicating the seriousness and dangers that these cults can potentially present.